Welcome to Salisbury University on the Air, a program highlighting the activities and the people of the campus. My name is Susan Purnell. It's just about the time of year when the campus is bustling once again. Students are moving in as classes begin, and many of those students will live in apartments and houses off the main campus. SU always strives to be a great community neighbor, and an annual campaign that continues this year is the first step to creating that great community partnership. Here today to tell us about SU's student community initiatives are Dr. Lawanda Dockins-Mills, SU Associate Dean of Students, and Eli Modlin, Chief of Staff to the President and Chair of the Town Gown Council. First is Dr. Dockins-Mills. So Lawanda, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Always good to talk to you, whether here or in the store.
Wherever we might run
Wherever
into each
we
other.
might run into each other. That's
Yes,
right. That's
always
right.
good.
So before we get talking a little bit about the subject of today, let's talk about you and your experiences, your educational experiences. I know you got your undergraduate and then your master's degrees here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so from there, what led to your career path here at SU?
Well, as a student at Salisbury, I have to share, I remember when I began as a freshman at SU, I was very shy and somewhat reserved.
Lawanda, I don't believe it.
Can you believe that?
No.
I was. The university used to, and we still do, use the term engagement. And that is still very applicable today because my early years at SU and my college journey is when I really began to blossom. And I think I became more confident through the experiences and opportunities that I had at Salisbury as an undergraduate student. So I got involved with clubs and organizations and worked on campus and studied on campus and made friends. And believe it or not, those are the same things that we tell students today to really help them in their transition to higher education.
So when you're talking to the students and they're just new in college, you're speaking from personal experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
And to have had the personal experience at Salisbury, I think makes it
I think so too.
even more rich.
Of course,
So,
because
yeah.
you can really relate to what they're going through and the transition they have to make. So getting back to our subject at hand, how important do you think it is for SU and the community at large to have a good relationship, to be good neighbors?
Extremely important. Mutual respect can go a long way. Working together as neighbors will improve the quality of life for everyone, for all of us involved. SU students are so talented and with much to offer the local community.
Over the years, you've been involved with a lot of different programs, but this year's special program is called Common Ground. Tell me what that is.
That is a program where we really try to engage and interact with the community and the students who are living in the community. And it's a door knocking campaign.
Okay.
We have a group of student volunteers along with the president of the university is
He
involved.
goes door knocking too?
He will be going for the first time
Good
this
for
year,
you,
as I
Chuck.
understand it, as well as the mayor.
Uh-huh.
Goes. Other city officials and dignitaries get involved with it, with our students. And the student volunteers are all student leaders who go out from door to door and make these connections with our the people who live in the communities.
So how many students?
We have approximately about 150
Oh gosh,
or
that's a
more
lot.
student volunteers who, some years we've had a few more, so and sometimes a few less. So each year the program has continued to grow and we've continued to expand the areas in which we go in.
So before they go out and knock on doors, I assume you have some sort of a training session for them.
Yes. We want our students to be prepared to respond to questions. Safety is premium. So we talk to them about that, what the whole motivation and the purpose of the program is for, so that they have a real good understanding about that. But to be honest with you, most of the time it's just a positive interaction.
They're just talking.
They're just talking.
And what are some of the issues that the residents that they talk to bring up?
Susan, you will not believe this, but I don't think I have had a student to come back to me and say, you know, the neighbors were really concerned about this. I think it was really more a very pleasant exchange where the neighbors are so happy to, they ask the students probably more questions about their experience as a Salisbury University student. And they invite them in for cookies.
Do they?
For refreshments.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's very, very special.
So it's not just, as you said, students talking to community members, or it is that, but it's also them talking to other students who are actually living off campus. Is that right?
Absolutely.
What's that conversation?
Well, let's understand, they have no idea. When our student volunteers knock on a door, they have no idea whether it's a Salisbury University student or just a community member. And so they're going to have probably similar conversations. We're just here to share with you, to welcome you back into the neighborhood if it's a student. And here's some things that you might need to be aware of, particularly the different ordinances that they may not have thought of, with regard to noise or parties or trash, what have you. Even some of our students, we have found from time to time, and this is kind of cute, and it's mostly our male students, but they have no idea that they cannot put indoor furniture outside on their porch.
Oh, neither did I.
That's an ordinance violation. And so it's really cute, just, sharing that kind of information so that students are better informed about living off campus.
Now, if a community member that you talk to expresses some concern, or if just any community member out there listening to us today has a particular concern about the college or its students, how would they best get in contact with someone here?
They can actually call our neighborhood relations office, and that number is 410, if anybody would like to know.
You have a neighborhood relations
office on our campus.
Wow,
yes.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, well, we have a neighborhood relations committee.
Oh.
Also, that's comprised of local neighborhood association members, neighbors in the community, student representatives from student government associations, Safe Ride, where we come together to have conversations about any challenges or concerns they may have. But let's say that in a particular case, we have a neighbor who has a concern. They have gone, we strongly suggest and encourage that they have a conversation with the students first. And if that isn't successful and the concerns are still there, then they can call the university. We're hoping there's a second option. And so they would actually call our office and register a complaint.
Does it happen very often?
Susan, I'm delighted to say, and we're getting ready to open a
whole new year. Right.
Whole new students living off campus, entirely different group. But I will share with you this, that we have been doing this for a number of years, maybe 7, 8 years. I can't remember exactly. But initially, when we began the neighborhood complaint program, where neighbors could call into the neighborhood relations office, we got a lot of calls. And I will tell you that last semester, we had one.
One call.
One call in the spring semester, and they were not Salisbury University students who resided in the house. So
that's interesting.
The other very positive thing that I will share with you in terms of the neighborhood complaint is that once a complaint has been registered with the neighborhood relations office, the recidivism has been almost zero.
Well, that's great.
It is.
That's really good news. So you go around and you knock on doors. What if no one's home?
We leave the door knocker.
And what's a door knocker?
Actually, I have one that I can show you.
Okay.
And it is a door knocker. We just hang on their doors. And on one side is messaging to the students that talks about ordinances. It talks about being a good neighbor. It talks about safety, how to build relationships with your neighbor. And on the flip side, it's messaging for the neighbor to share with them some strategies and tips and, how to engage their students and, to say hello to them as well. And then, how to address any concerns they have, the information on how to connect with the university. And so that's why we do it.
That's fabulous. So you just do it basically in the footprint of the college or the
Right.
neighborhoods around the college. And
So it goes down into Fruitland, some other parts of Salisbury as well, and then a lot of the neighborhoods that are close to the university that students can walk.
what other campaigns have you run or are being run right now in order to outreach to the community?
We do a number of things, and one of them that we're particularly proud of is our online education module that was written several years ago, that students can voluntarily go through the education module. It has 6 modules. They have to pass each module before they can move to the next one, but it's just better educating them about living off campus and all the things that we want them to know, because we know that education is key. And so we do that. In addition to that, we do a 4-day orientation program, and incorporated throughout that orientation program are different messages about being good neighbors, becoming aware, fully aware of the university's code of conduct, that all of our students are held to the same standards, whether you live on campus or whether you live off campus. So we have an opportunity to do that, introduce them to some of the components of Salisbury, revisit the ordinances, those types of things. So we do that through our orientation program. We do, you might even consider, I think, spearheading the Neighborhood Compact Committee. And that is a committee that I chair for the university, where we bring together as many of the landlord and property owners as we possibly can. Again, with city officials and the local policing agencies, student groups, so that we can have conversations about our students living in these properties. It's voluntary. So unfortunately, everybody who rents isn't on that committee, but we certainly encourage and invite everyone who would like to participate. That's been very effective, as well as the Neighborhood Relations Committee and having those types of ongoing dialogue. The university has a tremendous amount of pamphlets and brochures that we distribute about living off campus that has reached thousands. In terms
I bet with your door knocker, there's things that people who are not members of the SU community are finding out about too, as I have today, the outdoor furniture for one. How about the student organizations? Are there any current student organizations that are doing that same kind of outreach to the community?
Well, our students, as I said, are so talented. We do a multitude of different things out in the community. One in the fall semester that we do every year is called I Love Salisbury. And we have probably over 500 students who volunteer for that. And it's about a cleanup. They go out in the community. They're happy to do it. In the spring semester, we have the big event, which is very similar, but it's students who go out and volunteer. You might recall last year our students volunteered and got involved with the folk festival.
Yes.
And there are many, nonprofit organizations that our students volunteer at, fundraisers that our students do. So our students emerge very well.
It's really refreshing and exciting for we community members to be able to interact with the students. We want to. It's just, we're just sort of getting the opportunities in the last few years, and it's great. It's great. And I think, again, just seeing people and understanding, that they're people just like you.
And, they're just delightful. They're just delightful to work with.
That's been my experience.
Yeah, I couldn't have had such a long-standing career in higher education if it weren't such a pleasant exchange. And I tell them all the time, you keep me young.
I think you're right on that. Well, thank you so much for all this information. I always learn something on this program, and today I really did. So thank you for being here, Lawanda. Always good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It was a delight.
You've had an impressive turnout from students in the past, and it is great to know the students want to create a welcoming environment in the campus neighborhood. In just a moment, we'll speak with Chair of the Town Gown Council, Eli Modlin, But first, let's take a look at one of the many exciting student research projects that is happening on the campus this summer.
So the project that we're working on is defining shore break along coastal beaches, and basically what we're trying to do is study the slope of the beach profile that causes shore break, which is when waves crash upon the shoreline in a very direct manner. So we're trying to study the slope of the beach profile that causes that phenomenon to happen.
So I looked at 10 years of data from accident reports out on the beaches of Ocean City, Maryland. And I looked at all water-related injuries, including lower extremity, shoulder injuries, and spinal injuries. And what I found of all those water-related injuries, over 80% of them, shore break was a contributing factor in those injuries. And I just found that staggering. So I wanted to dive a little deeper and see if there were a connection between beach replenishment, creating conditions conducive to shore break, and these shore break-related injuries.
We're going to start by making waves at a certain height, making it to a certain scale that models 1/8 of a mile of a real beach, and then we're going to run simulations for 1 hour or 2 hours, maybe even all overnight, and that will give us a good starting point for what's going on at certain slopes. We have a whole list of variables that we need to go through to really define what is happening with these beach replenishment projects, and then from there we can hopefully design a new way to do beach replenishment to make it safer and make it more cost effective.
Wow, there's amazing work being done by students all the time here at SU. Next, we're joined by Eli Modlin, SU Chief of Staff and the Chair of the Town Gown Council. So welcome, Eli.
Thank you for having me.
I can't believe I've never talked to you on camera before.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll be doing this a lot now
Hopefully.
with all your many hats. So let's talk a little bit about your time at SU and what got you to where you are today.
Okay, so I'm originally from the Baltimore area, Catonsville in Baltimore County. Came to SU for my undergrad and had a phenomenal time. But I did move back home and worked for the Comptroller Peter Francho. And then the Deputy Chief of Staff and Director of Government and Community Relations job became available. And I spoke with Dr. Janet and Robbie, my predecessor,
Right.
And Amy Hassan, who was
Your
the
other
Chief of Staff at the
predecessor.
time, yes. And I came back and have been so fortunate, but have loved everything ever since. So
So that must be quite a change from government to...
So I still get
Education.
to wear the government and community relations hat.
That's true.
A lot of my job still keeps me in Annapolis, advocating on behalf of SU and the students. But there are a lot of things that I am doing now that I was not doing before. So absolutely.
Probably a lot more
Yes,
things
yeah,
that you
yeah,
are doing now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're the head of the Town Gown Council. What exactly is that?
So the Town Gown Council is a group of people that come together twice a semester. And these are community members, neighbors of the university, wherever the university is in their neck of the woods, folks from the institution, so representatives from academic affairs, student affairs, administration and finance, so when people want to know about the projects that we have going on. But they're also city and county officials. So the mayor sits on the Town Gown Council, the county executive sits on the Town Gown Council, city administrator, county administrator, folks from public works. So this is really a broad group of community individuals representing different facets of government and the institution. I'm coming together to discuss issues, but to also let them know what the university has going on and hear from the community what they have going on.
So how long has the Town Gown Council been around?
So the Town Gown Council was formed in 2003. And it's grown since its inception, but Dr. Janet created it some years ago, and it's just been a great tool and resource for the institution.
I didn't realize that the mayor and the county executive and all those people were on it. Why do you think it's important that we have this and that we're working on this relationship between SU and the community?
It's so important to keep the lines of communication open and to have that continuing dialogue. If there's a crime issue or a behavior issue, the police chiefs sit on the Town Gown Council. So they're right there to talk to the residents in a way that even the residents of the city of Salisbury, of Wacomico County, would not normally have access to those individuals. It's a way for them to understand how they can bring issues to the table. So it's the city in so many ways has helped the university grow and thrive in the way that it has. And I believe that the university has been a part of the city's growth.
Absolutely.
And this helps to keep that relationship vibrant.
It's a great way to reach a lot of people that could do something
That's exactly
really
right.
quickly.
That's exactly right.
Right?
You're absolutely right. And one of the other things that we do at the Town Council, if there's a particular issue coming up, we will invite special guests. So for instance, when we were talking about the new Court Plaza Temple Hill project, we invited a lot of the neighbors from that specific part of town to come to the Town Council so they could learn about the project in more detail. So they're not just reading about it in the paper, or watching it on the
Smart.
news.
A way to get ahead of a
That's
problem.
exactly right. That's
or
exactly right.
Perhaps
Or-
a problem. Or in this case, I think it was a great thing
Right,
for those
the neighbors were extremely excited,
Oh, they
and
had
so
to
they
be.
just got to learn more, and then they took it
Yeah.
home and spread it to their neighbors as well.
It's going to be a beautiful south entrance to
Yeah.
the campus. So
agree.
those neighbors got to be happy. How do you think that relationship between the city and the college has developed over the years?
So before my time, I understand that the relationship was at some points a bit contentious, but I think at that point we started to realize how we could help one another. And the lines of communication have opened, and we do so much together. I think people would be surprised at how much we're meeting with our counterparts at the city and how many times we're doing grant proposals or projects together. One thing that comes to mind immediately is the RiseOwn designation. And this creates a part of your city and it puts it into a designation that allows new businesses or new development to be tax-free or receive certain tax benefits. The state's requirement is that the city has to go into this in partnership with its local university. So this was a project that the city and the university went into hand in hand.
The city, you say, is truly making some investments also in our students. Tell me about the city's contribution to this relationship.
So the city has done so much. They've done things like created a grant program, Buy a Home, Build a Business, where they give you tax benefits in cash and other services if you graduate from Salisbury University and start a
stay
business in
here.
the city. Yes, and stay here and buy a home. So that's one example. But the city, they offer our students a number of fantastic internship opportunities. So in the mayor's office, throughout city employment, which is a fantastic way for our students to get real-world experience in some pretty interesting jobs.
It really is. I mean, and also I think some of the businesses offer the interns too. 'Cause
right.
I've had interns from the college, and it's been extremely good for me. Hopefully for them as well.
yeah.
But again, giving them that business experience.
I think
while
about
being
the
students.
I think about the downtown trolley and the opportunity that presents to get students from campus to downtown for free.
And that's also a
exactly right.
safety issue. So
That's exactly right.
that's a great program. I didn't know that existed. That's terrific. It kind of sums it all up. That everything you've talked about today basically is what Harry Truman said, and that's in order to have a good neighbor, you have to be a good neighbor, and that's what you're being. A good neighbor here to the community, and the community's being a good neighbor to you. It's a win-win.
That's right.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
The efforts of the SU student body and Town Council seems to have that exact same sentiment in mind to make the Salisbury area a better place to work, attend school, and live. As the academic year begins, let's take a look at some of the events on campus in September. There are lots of events that help kick off the year at SU. I look forward to seeing you at some of them. I'd like to thank my guests, Lawanda Dockins Mills, SU Associate Dean of Students, and Eli Modlin, SU's Chief of Staff and Chair of the Town Gown Council. I'm Susan Purnell, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.